Joining us now to talk about campaign 2016 is Senator Bernie Sanders. He's on the campaign trail in Santa Barbara. Senator, I wanted to ask you that it looks like the debate with Donald Trump in California is not going to happen. Do you think he was ever serious about that debate?
Look, Donald Trump said he wanted to go forward, then he changed his mind, said no, then he changed his mind, said yes, then he changed his mind, and he said no. Maybe we'll get a call in 5 minutes where he'll say yes again. I think that is who Donald Trump is, and I think the American people should be very concerned about somebody who keeps changing his mind, not only on this debate, but on virtually every issue he's been asked about.
When Donald Trump said he wasn't going to participate in the debate, he said, quote, "The Democratic nominating process is totally rigged." He went on to say Hillary Clinton and Debbie Wasserman Schultz will not allow Bernie Sanders to win. Do you agree with his characterization?
Well, I have been very touched by Donald Trump's love for me. But, John, you know, in all due respect, I think there may be some aspect of this which he thinks will advantage himself. So I do appreciate his love and his compassion for me, but I don't really accept his words. Look, we knew when we were in this that we were taking on the entire Democratic establishment. No great secret about that. And yet we have won 20 states. We're in California right now. I think we have a good chance to win here. I think we have an uphill fight, but there is just a possibility that we may end up at the end of this nominating process with more pledged delegates than Hillary Clinton. What has upset me, and what I think is, I wouldn't use the word rigged because we knew what the rules were, but what is really dumb is that you have closed primaries, like in New York State, where 3 million people who were Democrats or Republicans could not participate, where you have a situation where over 400 superdelegates came on board Clinton's campaign before anybody else was in the race, 8 months before the first vote was cast. That's not rigged. I think it's just a dumb process, which has certainly disadvantaged our campaign.
You're going to try to convince those superdelegates, when it's all said and done, to go with you instead of Hillary Clinton. You've made a distinction between superdelegates from states you've won, that you think those superdelegates should go for you. So will you not try to convince any superdelegate who comes from a state that you did not win in the primary and caucus process? Right.
Look, this is what I think. If I win, or Hillary Clinton, if that is your point, Hillary Clinton won Mississippi by a huge vote. Should I convince superdelegates there to vote for me when she won that state overwhelmingly? No, I shouldn't. But we won states, you know, like Washington, Alaska, Hawaii, New Hampshire, in landslide victories. And I do believe that the superdelegates, whether it's, you know, Clinton's or mine, states that we won, superdelegates in states where a candidate wins a landslide victory should listen to the people in those states and vote for the candidate chosen by the people.
As you make your pitch to the superdelegates, I want to ask you about the developments on Hillary Clinton's emails, because you've said that you're sick of hearing about them, but there's now been an Inspector General's reports. New developments have now come out. I wonder if you still have the same feeling about those emails now that an official body has weighed in about Hillary Clinton's emails and her behavior.
Well, you know, I'm just in Santa Barbara. We had a rally here with 6,000 people just a half hour ago. The issues, John, that I have been talking about are the issues that really are the issues facing the American people. Why the middle class is declining, income and wealth inequality, why kids are leaving school $50,000, $70,000 in debt, and the need to make public colleges and universities tuition free, to expand Social Security, etc. Those are the issues that I am focusing on. And frankly, what I think is that people in the democratic process want a real debate about the real issues. Now, you're right, the Inspector General just came out with a report. It was not a good report for Secretary Clinton. That is something that the American people, Democrats, and delegates are going to have to take a hard look at. But for me right now, I continue to focus on how we can rebuild a disappearing middle class, deal with poverty, guarantee health care to all of our people as a right.
That's why I wanted to ask you, because in order to get to the issues and get them covered in the way you'd like, you've got to be named president. I wonder if you, in your pitch you're making to the superdelegates, would say this Inspector General's report is sufficiently damaging that it might hurt Hillary Clinton in a general election, might give Donald Trump something to use against her, and therefore, as the superdelegates are making up their mind about who they want to carry forward on the issues just as you've addressed, whether you think that's something they should be keeping in mind.
Well, John, they will be keeping it in mind. I don't have to tell them that. I mean, everybody in America is keeping it in mind, and certainly the superdelegates are. The point that I'm going to make to the superdelegates, many of whom, again, came on board long before I was in the race, came on board Clinton's campaign, is your job is to make sure that Donald Trump is defeated and defeated badly. You have got to determine, based on 100 different factors, which candidate is the strongest candidate to defeat Trump. If you look at every poll done in the last 6 weeks, that candidate is Bernie Sanders. We defeat Trump always, and we defeat him by large numbers in states and in national polls, and almost always we do a lot better than Secretary Clinton does. Second of all, we have the grassroots activism. We have the energy and the enthusiasm in our campaign that Clinton's campaign, frankly, in my view, does not have, that can generate a large voter turnout in November. Democrats win when the voter turnout is high. We can generate that. Republicans win when the voter turnout is low. Frankly, I don't know that Secretary Clinton's campaign can create a high voter turnout.
Superdelegates are thinking if they look at you as a general election candidate, they might wonder how you would compete. You've not had an association with any super PAC. In a general election, would you keep disconnected from super PACs? And if so, how would you compete against the billions of dollars on the other side?
Well, you're right. The Republicans and the Koch brothers and Sheldon Adelson and all these billionaires will pour a whole lot of money into the campaign. We have done incredibly well so far in terms of fundraising by appealing to the middle class and working class of this country. We have gotten almost 8 million individual campaign contributions, $27 on average. That is what I will do in the general election. And I think instead of having 2 million contributors, that number will go up by 5-fold. So will win this campaign when you have 8-10 million people contributing $25-30 who are involved in the process, who are prepared to take on the big super PACs and the billionaires who will fund Trump's campaign.
And so just quickly to button this up before I let you go, that means no super PACs for you if you were in the general election.
Right. We will continue what we are doing. We will depend on the middle class, and an incredible number of small individual campaign contributions is how we'll fund our campaign and is how we will win the national election.
All right, Senator Bernie Sanders, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, John.